When I look back at my worst relationships and my behavior, I realize I resent my ex lovers, friends, and coworkers because I gave them the most valuable part of me, my creativity. When I'm in love with someone, I offer the one thing my parents never challenged me on, even my toxic dad: my ability to create. I was always artistic, even if neither believed I could be an artist. My uniqueness was undeniable, but my father's evil consistently believed a woman's best was only to serve and comfort a man's worst. Hence, if I was the best creative, it was only to make art that allowed him to cope with his addiction. Perhaps a poem of dedication, a 13-page letter of forgiveness, or how about a song about loyalty? For my father, I created art to prove I could love him, even when he was as dull as a burnt painting. For my mother, I created art like it was some form of evidence or investigative documentation. If my father consistently lied about his love and his capacity to do so, my mother consistently questioned my love. Thus, love needed a constant display to prove it was real. And what better than creativity? In this epiphany, I realized I did not just enter rooms and relationships as servile as a sedated maid eager to make your bed. I entered them like a righteous butler, acting like serving my ideas like one would champagne in a silver platter was a big deal. I always wondered why I felt so marked by my father's abuse. If anyone has been traumatized by a man with as much charm as a literal snake and as much talent as a rubber one, you understand my resentment. My father was a Kardashian, exceptionally good at masking that he was good at nothing. And I used my uniqueness to assure he and every man that crossed my path had something to compensate, aka my power. I was raised to be a fool, and having a mother that was difficult to please did not help. Yet I hated that I served with the one thing that always made me feel like my truest self. Creativity is my heartbeat, and I feel like Daddy Recovery was made in an attempt to see if I could even get my heart. I've been so broken but functional for so long that I never imagined actually breaking down. You hear so much that stress causes heart attacks or your mind to become a human fuzzball, but it's true. My body, my mind broke down because I never realized I have been stressed all my life. For my mother, stressing me out was a form of education, a way for prepping me for an adulthood that was stressful for everyone, while denying the biggest adult stress she had: my dad. All I could do in the hypocrisy of that dynamic was create. And to think I created the songs, campaigns, and overall art of so many plain friends, producers, and lovers makes me want to hide. So I've been really pushing through my shame. And I think what's so dangerous about shame is that it makes you comfortable hiding. And I will say it started before the pandemic. I remember, like, the pandemic obviously was horrible, but I felt oddly relieved at being able to kind of not be seen by the world, because I was always on, networking, meet me, love me. Oh, no, 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 no. It's cool, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool. I was a hamster on a wheel, and I wasn't going for what I wanted, which was to sing and act. But I also, I had reached a point where I wasn't even going for what I wanted as an entertainment critic, as a person just doing freelance writing for every person with $20 and above, right? I just wasn't living my life, and I was overwhelmingly introducing myself and putting myself out there without any kind of boundary or limit or recognition of what I wanted from people, even in dating. I wanted to be the most visible person to be invisible. I really think that, because I didn't feel seen. I didn't feel like anybody that loved me actually knew me intimately and deeply and richly. And yet I didn't either. I knew I was unhappy. I knew that I was just running through the emotions and the motions, but I also thought life would change if I kept on running into the same door. And the pandemic came, and I was devastated because I was making it's so funny how life is, because I was making these plans to move to Europe and kind of take the lead in my life. And the pandemic hit. And it was like, uh, I felt very resentful and devastated. And it sunk me into my lostness because I didn't have the resources. And obviously, the planet was shut down to actually move anymore, even though I was always moving in place. And I was just so surprised that the pandemic ended and I was still slow and I was still sluggish and I was still depressed and I had still have this like pandemic brain and I had, it was like everything opened and then I got health issues. And it really made me wonder. I feel like I can't be servile anymore. I have to do what I want for my own health and it's been so surprisingly hard to do so. And in this episode called Capsized, I felt a little bit like it reads like a diary page, honestly. And it's about this moment, not even what inspired the moment. I think the pandemic really did. And now I'm just realizing it. It's just this epiphany that I think why I resent a lot of my past relationships, including with my parents, is that I really made everything up. I gave my ideas, I gave my affirmations, I gave everything. I created those relationships without any reciprocity. Every the producer, every the producers, every friend, everything, every relationship I've had until this point, at least 90% of them, I just made up by offering my creativity. And creativity is for everything. If I dated a marketer, I was making which I did, I was making up a campaign for them. If I had a friend who was a teacher, I was helping them with a syllabus. I was always, always creating as a sign of that I love you. And they didn't take it as that. They really did take it as like, thanks for the freebie, deuces. And my creativity was so precious to me. I love being a creative. And I hate that these relationships, particularly via my childhood trauma, made my creativity this kind of like survival mode. Like, I just want to get by. And I remember when my creativity gave me life. Like it made me feel alive to create, to make a song out of joy, the joy of making a song, to act because acting was fun and I was good at it. Am good. Do you know? And I feel like I look back on my life like it's a murder scene and I want to know who killed me. And if they killed me, what they killed was my creativity. Because that is, I can honestly say, the thing I most love about me for me. My mother loved my humor. My dad did not love me. My friends have always loved that I'm wise. I love that I'm creative. And I'm trying to reconcile that relationship with me. And it has not been easy. But Daddy Recovery's helping. So please follow on all platforms. Deandra on all music platforms, all my socials. Thanks, friend.